All right, welcome everybody to IS50A and I guess technically 50B also. Summer session. Summer session is going to run every day, all of July, starting today. It starts at noon every day, and the class runs technically till I think it's like 2:15 for the lecture. And then after that is lab time. Sometimes we'll make use of lab time, sometimes we won't. 2:25 each day. So you're sort of obligated to be here through 2:25, and then I usually do some like in-class work and things like that will run till 3:25. For the IS50B students, the class is actually co-taught at the same time. There's only I think 3 students in IS50B, second semester game development. So basically, your guys' time is sort of intermingled in there. So I'll work with you guys offline, I guess. So for now, just kind of hang out during the normal class session, and the general way that I've been teaching it is that when the 50A students are doing lab time, then the 50B students go learn new stuff and get their assignments and things like that. So we'll be doing something like that, but for now, just like hang out during the normal class, and hopefully you can have a good time. Okay, all you guys on Discord right now know that you have to be on Discord, and I think you've all tagged yourself on Discord. Let me take a look at yourselves. You're all tagged. Okay, all right, good. You all figured that out. Good. Not the most immediately intuitive thing, but what we have found is that Discord is a better way of organizing a class than Zoom, because there's a persistent chat log, and Zoom, when the meeting goes away, the chat log goes away, and on Discord you can also type like say hi things, say hi, on Discord. You can talk to each other, you can ask questions. I highly encourage people to say things when I'm lecturing, because at least that lets me know you're paying attention. It's not like a normal class. In a normal class, if you start talking when the professor's talking, the professor will give you, like this frowny face. But it's online. You're not interrupting me. And so when I come to a pause in what I'm saying, I'll stop. I'll look over. Harry Singh says, this is for IS50B2, right? The answer is yes. It is. It's a co-taught class because there's not enough students in second semester game development to actually have its own class. So the two sections are merged together into the same time. And then the 50B students, like I said, you guys get your time when the 50A students are doing their lab time. But for right now, just hang out simultaneously. You must have a Windows PC or laptop for this class. You could probably get by some of the stuff with a Mac, or Linux box technically, but it really does require a Windows box for this. And our school does rent laptops, so if you don't have a laptop, they will give you one for the semester, and they're good laptops. The school actually specially ordered gaming laptops for this class for us. That's really nice of them. They didn't have to, but they did. Pretty cool. We're going to be talking about Unreal Engine today, so I'll go through this in a second, and then we're going to be doing some stuff with Quake, the original Quake 1 engine, which is actually getting a remake. This is very exciting stuff. It's the 20th anniversary, I think, of Quake right now, or something like that. 30th anniversary? 25th, maybe. I don't know how many years it's been out. It's been out for a while. But id Software has announced they're actually going to be redoing the original Quake. And that's pretty cool. Like, if they redo it, like, they didn't do the Quake 2 RTX remake, but a group of people made a ray traced version of Quake 2, which takes this old game and made it really beautiful and stuff like that. So back in the day, when people wore turnips on their belts, there was a game called Quake, and it was by the people that made Doom. We've probably heard of Doom, and they released the source code to it. And so people like me modded the Quake engine. And so this download here is my mod of the Quake engine, and you can download it for now, and we'll get to that later in the semester. But yeah, the fact that the id Software people are apparently remaking the original Quake 1 engine is very exciting to me. Like, this is huge news, and hopefully it'll be moddable as well. There's um, an unfortunate tendency in the industry these days to not allow modding, but from what I understand, they're going to allow modding as well on it, so it's pretty exciting stuff. So the grading on this class is pretty simple. I've redone kind of how the grading is going to work this semester. If the three of you that are in a last semester, this will look different to you guys, and this will apply to your 50B class as well. Basically, half of this class is participation. So every day you got to show up, got to be in class, and then during lab time, I'll give you a little bit of work to do. For example, build a castle inside of Unreal Engine, which you guys maybe have never done that before. It might sound daunting. It's really not. We'll see that in a little bit. It's really not that daunting. Um, so yeah, just show up every day, participate, and you're probably going to pass the class. You know what I mean? That's half your grade. And then on top of that, there are two projects that we are going to work on, and they will be due basically at the end of the semester, the end of the month. That said, there will be checkpoints along the way because there is a tendency that all people do to sort of put things off until the last minute. And if you put off both your projects to the very last day, it's not going to happen, right? So there's going to be checkpoints along the way where you have to like check in and show that you've done work to get points for these two projects here. Okay. And we'll talk more about these projects later. But basically, yeah, just show up every day, hang out. How do you access my calendar? There's calendar, like for assignments or things like that. Currently there's no assignments published on Canvas right now. When I do put up an assignment, then it will show up on your calendar feed. And they'll say, due tomorrow, build a castle in Unreal, that kind of stuff. And so you can just go to Canvas in it, or if you have the Canvas app, it should show all of the things that are due. But currently there is no assignments yet. It's first day class, yeah. Also, if the mod is really small, can it make multiple? Does that have to be slightly bigger? Yeah, we'll talk about that. But the mods have to be kind of scoped appropriately for the class. You don't want to do Grand Theft Auto 6, right? It's mass, like no, like too big. And if your mod is like, I'm gonna change the wall from green to blue, that's too small. Right. So we'll talk about it, but you sort of have to find a good and appropriate scope for your project. And one of the benefits of working with me is that I usually have a pretty good idea of what's a good amount of work for you guys to do on it. Add Danny DeVito and Left 4 Dead. Nice, very nice. I'll allow it. Okay, so yeah, welcome. This is a fun class. I really enjoy teaching IS50A and B. Games are fun. So, and so it's I don't know if you're like me, but like a lot of times, like when I'm playing a game, I'm like, man, this is a fun game, but I wish you would do this. I don't know. Have you guys ever like had that feeling like you're playing, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto or this is a fun game, but like I just wish this thing was different, or something like that. So playing Fallout 4, yeah. I wish a lot of things were different with Fallout 4. Yeah. I feel like I have to mod it. Yeah. And so when you know game development, you can do it, right? And so modding modding is changing an existing game, and that's a lot easier to do than making a full even like as much as we kind of dog on Fallout 4 as being not a good game. I'm not capable of making that from scratch. I'll just tell you that like straight up. Like it is a giant game. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making Fallout 4 from scratch. But I'll mod it. You know what I mean? I'll change it. And so mods are a really kind of low cost entry point into game development, where you can use somebody else's big giant skyscraper edifice of a game and be like, all right, I'm going to change the colors on the windows or something. You know what I mean? So it's a way of actually getting experience doing game development without having this massive, like, okay, make Skyrim from scratch. Like, no, it's not gonna happen, right? Skyrim skill trees. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could say about the skill trees in Skyrim. Modding Minecraft sounds fun. Yeah, it's people do it. Yeah, so, all right, so that is the plan for the class. And yeah, making games is just fun. Like it really is. There's something really satisfying about seeing your imagination sort of come to life inside of a video game. Like it's just a neat feeling, and it's a neat feeling when people play it. You know, the mod that I wrote for Quake, over 1 million people played it, based on unique usernames, which may or may not translate to actually 1 million people. Who knows, right? But something on that order, right? And it's a cool feeling, like when you get an email from somebody who's organizing a tournament for your game that you made 20 years ago, you know, this last, couple months ago, right? So, like, that's a cool feeling. It's a really neat feeling. And what mod? It's called Custom Team Fortress for Quake 1. That's this download, right? Where'd you go? Here. That's my mod. And yeah, there's a guy in Australia who organizes tournaments for it and things like that, and we get a bunch of people on. It's a neat feeling. It's really cool. He's been modding my mod, and people have modded my mod, then I modded their mods, and this dude's modding my mod of somebody else's mod of my mod of Quake. So it's not all my code, obviously. It's mod, right? So, yeah, it's cool. All right, so let's get going. So the most of the game development we're going to be doing in this class is inside of what's called Unreal Engine. How many people currently have Unreal Engine installed on their systems? Or maybe I should ask, how many people don't have it installed right now? I know that one person is Simmons doesn't. Okay, Simmons, do you have a PC or a laptop? Your GPU screams every time you launch it. Yeah, sing me the song of your people. Yeah. It is intensive. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's resource intensive. You can cook on your laptop, yeah. I actually had to install a split unit AC system in this room here because my machine generates so much heat when I'm doing development. So Simmons, do you have a Windows machine or PC? Okay. So the steps you're going to want to go through is to go to the let's see. So you're going to search for download Unreal Engine. Yeah, Ben and Corey just posted the link. Thank you, Ben and Corey. And then you're going to choose the publishing license. Don't worry about having to pay for anything. It's a 5% royalty after your game has made $1 million. So yeah. I rented this laptop for CC. Oh. That's not good. Yeah, did you get a gaming laptop, Simmons? And they don't have Unreal Engine on there. Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you, girl. Everyone, this is my daughter. Ada, say hi.
Hello.
So, she just brought in my coffee. You're allowed to remain in my household for another day, girl. Okay, so that's yeah. Let me. I'll put you in contact with Nico, or if you just want to. Okay, the installer shortcut is there. It says you don't have permission. Hmm. That's unfortunate. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Give them a call. They're really you guys. They'll sort you out. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. And so these things happen. Don't worry about it too much. You're not gonna fall behind. What I'm just gonna do right now is show the interface for Unreal Engine, so you guys know what the heck I'm talking about. But actual instruction on it is going to start tomorrow. So nobody is actually required to have Unreal Engine installed today. And if you still don't have it installed tomorrow, again, don't worry about it. I'm a very reasonable person, and uh, just like my rule. And this goes for everybody. If you have a thing you like can't make class, just tell me in advance. That's it. Like, you know, um, I had a student who's like, I need to go to a launch party for. And I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever. It's all good. Okay, so when you launch Unreal Engine, you're gonna see something like this, and are these classes going to be recorded on my YouTube? Yes. Yeah, all lectures get recorded and posted on YouTube. So if you can't make a day, again, I take attendance every day because it's a synchronous class, and half your grade is going to be showing up and participating. Um, but yeah, all the lectures will be on YouTube. So if I go too fast or something, which if I do it, just ask a question. Like I'm constantly checking Discord. Like if you didn't see how I did something, but you can always go back on YouTube and watch it and see what it was I did. Right, and I try to say verbally what I'm doing also when I do things. So this is what I worked on last semester. This is kind of like a grab bag of different stuff. I'm just gonna show you guys what it looks like. Like I said, we're not gonna learn it today. I just kind of want to orient you so you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Unreal Engine. So I just hit launch, and you might notice the level's not loaded yet. It's not fast. Sea shanties, yeah, sea shanties. You need splash screens, let me know. Is IS50B going to be up in the spring? Yeah, the currently IS50B is not offered for fall for some reason, so I need to work with the school to figure out why that is. Normally I teach 50A and 50B every semester. Yeah. It's still loaded. My machine's pretty decent too, and it's still loaded. Like it's one of the things about Unreal Engine is it is resource demanding. It is not. It's not a small. It's not Notepad. You know what I mean? Do I have SLI? I do not have SLI. I do have a 3090 though, and I do have a pretty decent CPU and pretty decent RAM, and so it's loaded, and now it's going to compile the shaders. We'll talk about what shaders are in a future lecture. Uh, so I'm just gonna stand here and stare at it for a bit. Nah, I can keep talking. So Skybox is cool. Yeah, it's not bad. That's actually a landscape, not a skybox. So this is the result of what just my in-class demos were last semester. So basically, each one of these things you see here is going to be like probably different days worth of lectures, something like that. And we made that moving water texture in class together. This is a door, fairly cheap looking door. You walk up to it and it slides down. Doors are one of those weird things in video games where like you can make a cheap door really easily, but actually to do doors correctly, it's actually really hard. Um, it's one of the most difficult things in a video game to do properly. You know, like to have a if you ever played Red Dead Redemption, like when you walk up to a door, Arthur will like put his shoulder into it and push it open. In Last of Us 2, Ellie will reach and touch the door, and if there's a monster on the other side, like handling the AI, figuring out how doors work and audio. It's actually incredibly complicated. This is not a complicated door. You walk up to it. You walk up to it and it opens. This is first semester game development. We are not in the business of making AAA games here. The point of this class is to teach you guys the basics of game design and the basics of game development. Okay? And so everything you see in here you'll be able to do by the end of the month. And like I said, like my daughter actually made this right here. Like this whole thing was made by my daughter. It's like a little Lego castle kind of thing. Treasure chest and a window and some, I don't know what that is. Yeah. And so, you know, that was just after her watching a couple lectures with me. She was able to put this together. You know, it's maybe a little rough. I don't know, but I think it's kind of cool. You know. And so if you were ever like that kid that liked playing with Legos and like putting things together and using your creativity and, I mean, you know, it's obviously not a realistic looking tree, but you know, it's a cool thing. It's a really cool thing, and game development is just cool and fun. So, we're gonna learn this semester about how to make landscapes. We got a landscape here, and that's a lecture. This texture here, this water texture we made in class, and you can see there's like these wave patterns on it that are moving around. It's transparent. You can see there's like, you know, as what the hell just happened there? You can see as the water ripples, you catch highlights from the sunlight on it, things like that. Again, none of this is actually very complicated. You just need to have a lecture on it from, I don't know what's happening with the thing popping up and down here. And if you go under the water, then the camera changes to like this blue thing. That's something we had to do also. There's like a film grain effect here. I don't know if that's, there, full screen. I don't know if you guys can see that film grain effect on it. I don't know if that'll come through on the stream. But like it's a grainy film grain effect. I think we had an oxygen bar. I don't know if it was last semester or the semester before. We had an oxygen bar that would go down as you swim. Over here you can see we added a river waterfall thing. It doesn't look super realistic. But Unreal has a water system for rivers, and there's a lake over here. Let's see. Make myself fly faster. Where is the movement speed? There we go. Whee! Okay, flying faster now. So over here we've got an ocean, and so we made an ocean in class. I don't like the look of this. Yeah, this landscape here looks, I don't know, it looks pretty decent to me, you know. Again, for something that just first semester game development students can do, it's like not bad. You got a little bit of fog. I don't know if you guys can see there's haze there, but it's actually like a low-lying haze, so it sticks to the lower altitudes, and the higher altitudes are, see that? There's no fog up here, but there's fog down there. Yeah, that's all stuff you guys will learn too. There's an ocean, and then over here there is a lake, and the river comes. Again, I'm not super happy with how this river turned out. It could look more professional, but the river comes down to the lake. You can actually see where the interface of the lake and the river are. They kind of blend together kind of nicely. You can see the water kind of flows into the lake there. it's decent. I think it's decent. There's different textures on the landscape: the grass, the rock, the lichen-looking thing. Yeah, that's all stuff you guys will learn this semester. So hopefully, you know, don't be afraid. You should be hyped. You know what I mean? Like it's cool. It's like art. It's like an art class almost. You know. Okay, now I'm going too fast. Slow that down again. There we go. So, and then what else we got? We got different textures here. You can see that's like a goofy looking little animated texture that we made. I made a system where you can pick flowers and add them to your inventory. Different other textures they made in class. This one, you see how this is all bumpy and stuff like that? So that's something we learned about last semester. Lighting. Lighting's a very important thing. I don't know if you guys have ever done drama or anything like that, but lights are very important for controlling mood and controlling attention on things, stuff like that. Here we have a snowman. This is actually going to be one of your first assignments. You have to build a snowman like Elsa in Frozen. You can see it's 3 spheres stacked on top of each other, a couple spheres for the eyes and a cone for the nose. Pretty easy, to be honest. Can't wait to make Octopath Traveler. Good luck. Scoping. Scoping is very important. And then over here we have some mannequins. We typically use mannequins just as placeholders for real monsters or players or whatever. But the mannequins have animations attached to them. Oh, what happened there? Okay. And so you can see this guy's got like a backwards walking crouch animation. This guy is, I don't know if you can see it, but he has an idle animation. So rather than having a figure in the world just like not moving, you can see how there's like a very subtle idle animation on that guy. We use the attachment system to attach things to their hands. So this guy's got, I don't know, it's like a magic staff or something, and this guy's got some kind of magic staff as well. This guy is, yeah, he's also got an animation, but there's nothing attached to his hands right now. This guy's got a flower attached to his head. This guy died, unfortunately. So whenever I launch the game, he goes, he falls over. So, yeah. Got some, oh, I'm picking up the flowers. There you go. You can see I picked 3 flowers. And if I walk up to the thing here, 4 flowers. Yeah. So, we have a dynamic object spawning system there, where there's a spawn point and it's spawning barrels. I don't know why we're spawning barrels, but again, this is all just, to teach you guys about stuff. This isn't a real game. But the system is spawning. To spawn means to create, right? So it's creating new barrels over and over again. And so we've got kind of a volcano going off over there. And you can see these barrels are kind of filling up the water down there. I don't know why they put a table down there, but there's a table down there. So, yeah. So that's basically what you guys are going to do this semester. Okay? You know, don't be afraid. Be hyped, right? Was this class IS50A? Yeah, this is IS50A. IS50B people, last semester we did a lot of programming, text-based programming. I don't know if you guys want to see that stuff. I may or may not do the same thing this semester. I want to talk about it with the IS50B people, because the people who had taken my computer science classes, because I teach computer science at our college also, they did fine in it, I think. Walker did fine in it. Is it a volcano? It's a volcano, yes, of barrels. It's shooting oak barrels into the sky. I don't know. We fine, says Walker. Yeah, just got lazy. Yeah. So the yeah, I'll show you guys, and you can kind of see what. Made my first full game in high school project in C++ command line. Okay, yeah. So that was. Hello. Is putty not running? There we go. And here we go. There. And so in 50B, it's runny. Let's do runny 2. So what it did, so 50B, I like talking about what's called computational geometry. Like a lot of games development actually requires you to know math and like programming and stuff like that. And for 50A, I try to keep those as like minimal as possible. If you're in 50A, all you have to know is how to add two numbers together and multiply. That's about it, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So 50A people, you're going to learn math, but it's really all you have to know is addition and multiplication, maybe subtraction. Yeah, you have to know subtraction too. So, my daughter's like, "It can't be that easy, Daddy." I'm like, "Yeah, girl, you know addition, subtraction, multiplication. You don't have to know division, I don't think. Maybe, yeah, maybe division, maybe might come up. But if you know that, you know all the math you need to know for 58. And so what this program here, this is 50B. This is kind of a cool algorithm, and what it is it's generating a random map essentially, and you can think of each of these different letters here as like a city, and what it's doing is that it's giving land to each city based on how close that land is to the city. So every bit of land closer to G than L is shaded this peach color. Everybody closer to L than G is shaded this kind of olive color. You see that? So it's randomly generating a map for a top-down civilization style game or something like that. More of a Python guy. Yeah, I'm language agnostic for development. So if I run it again, it randomly puts cities on the map, and then it colors the map based on which spots are closer to each city. And so yeah, so that's kind of stuff. And so for this one, it's the same thing except it only does the edges. It's kind of cool. So it's kind of like an edge detection algorithm. And so we got Frankfurt, New Orleans, and so it's the same algorithm. It just instead of coloring the whole map in, it only colors the edges. And it's not like if you've taken C++ before, it's not hard. If you've never programmed before, yeah, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to think about IS50B because we do get people in there who've not programmed, right? And so I think it was fine for the people that had taken computer science, but for the people that hadn't, it wasn't fair. And so yeah, basically I want game development to be open to everybody, right? Like let's say you've never programmed before in your life, I still want you to be able to do game development for A and B. So like I said, I'm kind of redoing the classes and trying to make sure that people enjoy it. You know what I mean? And like take the class. Like I don't want people to be like, "Oh, this is crazy, dude." Like, yeah, it's too hard. You know, I don't want that. Like it's a fun, enjoyable experience. If you guys don't understand something, are you using putty in the class for 50B? Maybe. Like I said, for the 50B people, I'm going to figure it out with them because there's only 3, and so we're going to actually kind of figure out together what we're going to do because there's 3 people in 50B. So it's not like that's why it's not published, by the way, either. It's because I actually want to just sit down with the 3 people and figure out, okay, what skills do you have and what's doable and things like that for this semester. So get a little more individualized attention. Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, so this is 50A stuff here on the screen here, and then for 50B, like I said, last semester we did a lot of stuff like in that text-based programming environment. We did some stuff in Unreal Engine also, and I want to do some more advanced stuff in Unreal Engine this semester. I was talking to Mr. Walker yesterday. Came over to my house. We had a 5th of July party yesterday, and I do want to. There are some neat features in Unreal Engine that I haven't taught before, and I kind of want to do that in 50B also. And Harlan came over. I didn't see you here. Mr. Harlan, welcome, welcome. Um, Harlan is a graduate of the program, a computer science program here at Walker's as well. And so they're just hanging out, by the way. Walker, if you see Walker and Harlan making Pepe faces on chat here, these guys are actually graduates of the program. They don't have to be here. They're actually here to help you guys out. So if you guys can give them like a clap emoji or something like that. One of the really nice things about our college is that we have this tradition of experienced students helping out the new students, and so they don't have to. They're not getting paid for it. They're just good people, and so they're just kind of hanging out, and they're here to help you guys. If you have trouble doing something, you can just ping them. You can message them, post on the help center. If you see on Discord, there's 2 channels for this class. One is the lecture room. The lecture room is only open during lecture hours, like now. And then the help center, which is for sort of after hours homework help. Like, let's say you're trying to make fog on an Unreal Engine and like it's just not appearing. Then you go onto the help center and be like, yo, I can't get the fog to appear. And then somebody's like, hey, did you check the visibility box? And you're like, no, I didn't. And you check it and then it appears. Feel free to ask any question you want. Like, don't worry about, I shouldn't say don't worry about cheating, but like, unless you're like literally copying files from another person, when you make your castle, it's going to look different from somebody else's castle. And you know what I mean? Like, just feel free to ask any question you want. I don't want to say it's impossible to cheat in this class because, you know, technically, I guess somebody could set up like a Dropbox and you just like, you know, but as long as you don't do that, you know what I mean? Like, feel free to ask any questions you want and post screenshots of what you're doing, and yeah, it's all good. Okay. So, yeah. So they're here to help you. I'm here to help you. You can message me at any time on Discord. I'm office hours are kind of 24/7. Like, I'm, you know, if I'm awake, you know, it's office hours basically. You know, if I'm backpacking or something, I won't be available. But basically, I'm available 24/7. And so some students are afraid to talk to the professor because it's intimidating, or maybe they think that the professor will know I don't know game development. Yeah, I know you don't know game development. That's why you're taking the class. You know what I mean? But like, some students are like afraid to ask the professor questions because they're afraid they'll seem dumb or something, you know? And so feel free to hit up Walker and Harlan. I'm volunteering them. Message them 24/7. They especially like being messaged at 8 o'clock in the morning. That is their favorite time of the year. Every day, 8 a.m., send them a message. What's up? Yeah. Depends on the day. Yeah, just at Walker and then ask him a question, and it'll ping on his Discord. And he's a really good guy. Like, Logan's amazing. Harlan's amazing as well. They're both really good guys. And like I said, they're not getting paid for this, so they're just helping out. Walker's the guy that wrote the Discord bot for Discord here, and so I'm getting off work at Thursdays at 8. Oh, you're getting off work at 8 a.m. Getting off work at 8 is, to be honest with you, that sounds like the worst possible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a yikes on that one. That's pretty bad. Okay, so before we get going, any questions about this? I'm just, you know, again, you know, this is just to hype you guys up. Okay. Make sure you get Unreal Engine installed. Simmons, if you have trouble getting it working, let me know. Like I said, I'm a pretty reasonable fellow. Close out of that then. Is Unreal Engine this? Install failed. Oof. Oh, you don't have space available on it. Try to free up space on your drive and attempt to install again. There's not enough space. Add C program files, Epic Games, UV 4.6. 40 gigs required. 14 gigs available. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about one of the downsides to doing game development. It is brutal on your hard drive. Like I have I think 4 SSDs in my computer right now because I keep constantly running out of hard drive space. And some of it is because I do have games installed and stuff like that. Um, yeah, most of it is the game development stuff, and also like when students upload their projects, I get a copy of them, and then that eats up my hard drive space as well. So, let's see here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drives inside of my computer right now. 5 of which are SSDs, 2 of which are spinny disks. Um, this is a 15 terabyte.
Daddy, the food is here.
Food's here? Okay, cool. You can please eat without me, girl. I'm talking right now. So this is a 15 terabyte hard drive that I bought, and I've already I've only used up 2.5 terabytes of it, but that's pretty much all just this class for this. I bought an 8 terabyte SSD, and it is still mostly free. But you can see the 2 terabyte drive full, 200 gig SSD full, 500 SSD full. Actually, I don't know what this is. 100 megs. It's probably like some Acronis thing or something. And then this is a terabyte SSD, and that one's like mostly full. So some of it is my games that I've installed, but yeah, this industry is absolutely brutal on your storage. So yeah, good luck. If you have it, if you don't have, if this is your own machine, then you might want to rent one from the school. Borrow. They don't charge you for it. Yeah, it's a sad but common story. Yeah, especially when you start doing things like, let me just show you guys this. So there's a marketplace for Unreal Engine, and so I'm not an artist, by the way. I have taken an art class in the past in high school. In summer school class, I took art. You don't want me making art. Trust me, I'm not. No, you don't want me making art. 3D art. Yeah, no, you don't want me. You do not want me making 3D art. Also, I've made 3D art. When I worked as a professional game developer, I made a spaceship that was literally like a triangle. I can do that. You don't want me making art. So the good news is, if you are not an artist, there is tons and tons of art available in the Epic Games. To get here, you go to Epic Games Unreal Engine Marketplace, and there is a ton of stuff, a lot of which is free. Like this is a $50 package. Click on it. Click on it. It does this sometimes, by the way, where the marketplace just doesn't respond. I don't know why, but yeah. So this is all free stuff right now, and so what you can do is you can just add it to the cart. And all these things, you just add to the cart, add to the cart, add to the cart. Magic Circle Creator, I don't know what that is, but it's free. Custom shape volumes, I don't know what that is. I'm going to add it to the cart also. So this right here is a bunch of like Breath of the Wild style art, And what's really cool is that every month new free stuff is put up on the marketplace, and you can buy it for free, and you have it permanently. It's not just free for the month. Once you buy it, it's yours. It's in your collection, and every time you make a game from then on, you can put Breath of the Wild style trees and grass and flowers into your game. It's really cool. It's really neat. And this tab here has all the different free stuff. So there's the permanently free collection, free for the month collection, Mega Scans, which is responsible for eating up more of my hard drive space than anything else. Let's see if we can pull that up. No, it's not responding again. And so one habit, if you guys are interested in this thing, is to go onto the free section there and just download or buy. You don't have to download it; you just have to buy it for nothing. Just buy all the free stuff, and then you end up with this giant library of these are all the things that I've bought over the years. Rip my hard drive, you know what I mean? And so some of these things, like the Mega Scans, one thing that really annoys me is that they don't actually tell you how much hard drive space it takes up before you install it, right? Like, if you look at this thing, like, it's like, cool. How much of my hard drive space is this going to eat up? It doesn't tell you. What you have to do is you have to download it, and then you look at the download bar and it's like, oh, that's 10 gigs. Cancel, right? And so what megascans are high resolution scans of real life, and so they go out into nature and they take pictures of moss and grass and things like that, and then they upload the pictures for free. And so if you want to make nice looking video games, I highly recommend the the mega scans. They're all free. They used to be part of a they used to be for sale, and then Epic Games bought them and made them free. I think they still have some that you buy. Walker, do you know? Does Quixel still have for sale textures, or are all of them are all of them using UE4? Yeah, if you're using UE4, all of them are free. Okay, nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about games. Okay. So like I said, try and get this all set up, and contact me. If you have any questions about it. Okay. Is it an 8 terabyte SSD, M2 or regular? It's definitely an M2. It's definitely an M2. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. One of the reasons why I teach this class in summer school is to buy dumb stuff for my computer. NVMe M2, not 8 terabyte. Yeah, that was a month. That was a month of me teaching summer school to get that drive. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about games. I got a PowerPoint and everything. Okay. So for this class, you're going to learn to design and make games, and these are almost two different careers, by the way. There are people whose job it is to design games. They don't necessarily make them; they design them, and so they get to say, like, we're going to make Fallout 4. All right, cool. And they say this is what the RPG system is going to look like. This is the inventory system. This is the crafting system. They don't actually program any of it. They just design it, right? And these jobs are very coveted, right? Because, like, you don't have to have any technical skills. So in order to be a good game designer, you actually have to learn to think critically. You have to learn to really think about games as an intelligent person. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, like, play a game and be like, oh, that's fun, I'm going to copy it. Or, it'd be really fun if we could add, like, a tranquilizer gun to Quake. True story, by the way. The Australian guy that modded my mod, he added a tranquilizer. There was a tranquilizer gun, but my tranquilizer gun, when you shot somebody, just slowed them down a little bit. They would fire slower, and their running speed would go down by 25% or something. He's like, that's not tranquilization. I'm going to make a real tranquilizer gun. So when you shoot somebody, they go, "Erp," and they fall over. And you can't click, you can't do anything. You're just sitting there on the ground for a minute. So for those of you that have played video games, tell me what's wrong with the Australians' game design. And why mine was better. I'm very judgmental when it comes to these things. Especially when you change my stuff. What is fun or unfun about being able to shoot a person one time and have them flop to the ground unconscious for a minute? If they took damage, they would wake up, by the way. I should mention that. He did have that. So you shoot a person, they go, oh, and they flop over, and if you shoot them again, they wake up, right? But otherwise, they just lay there, they can't click, they can't do anything, they're just laying there. What is fun or unfun about that very cheap, incidentally, weapon? It's not an expensive weapon, either. Not having fun if you're sleeping for 1 minute. Unbalanced. The clean one tap. Not playing the game is unfun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Takes away control from the player. Yeah, 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 yeah. Unfun to get hit once and lose the gunfight. Feels like an eternity. All all correct. All correct answers. He wanted Anna's sleep dart. Yeah. Uh, was that before Overwatch came out? I think it was before Overwatch came out. But um, yeah, very different fields and skill sets to do game design and making games. Very true. You can do both, and we're going to be talking about both in this class. But yeah, so he thought it would be cool, and he, bless his heart, does not have necessarily the best um, game design brain out there. You know what I mean? Like he's playing the game, and it's fun to shoot somebody and have them flop over for a minute. That's fun. It's fun to have the weapon, especially since it's a capture the flag game. So if there's a guy defending the flag, you shoot him once, the defender goes, and then you walk in, grab the flag, and walk out past him, and he's sitting there impotently clicking on the thing, and the person just walks out with the flag. You know, it's fun if you have the gun, but he didn't think about, is it fun to be on the receiving side of it? So what I did was I bought the gun, and I shot him with a tranquilizer dart, and he flopped over. And then I walked around, and a minute later, when he woke up again, I shot him again, and he flopped over. And I did that for about 5 minutes. And Binninghoven's absolutely correct. There's a lot of stuff that happens in a fast-paced game in a minute. There's a lot. There's like people are running around, and he's just laying there. Like, it'd be fun if I could play the game. It'd be really fun if people are just running past his body. Like people on my team didn't shoot him because they didn't want to wake him up. So everyone's just like, things are happening, and he's just sitting there like, okay. And he wakes up again. I boop, shoot him, goes back down. 5 minutes of that, he goes on to chat. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna fix it. Because he thought about only one side of it, right? He thought about having the gun side. He didn't think about the other side. And so I just proceeded to crowd control him for 5 minutes straight. And he was like, yeah, okay. You made your point. Playtesting is key. Yeah, he play tested it to make sure that it worked technically, and to be fair, it was a fair bit of technical engineering, right? Because you have to shoot a person, they have to flop over, and then if they ever take damage, you have to wake up, and there's like all sorts of things that could go wrong with that, and he had it working fine. He just didn't think about it from he had this part, he had the making of the game good. He's a good programmer. It was the design part that he had to develop his neural circuitry more for. Does that make sense to you guys? And so that notion of game design is something we're going to be really talking about this semester. Okay, we're going to be talking a lot about game design, and it's fun, it's creative, but you just have to kind of learn to think about games analytically, and really look at a game and think about what makes it fun and stuff like that. And it's its own discipline. You can get a job as a game designer, and you can get a job as a game programmer. And sometimes you do both, but at a big AAA company, these are different people. And they work with the programmers, but they're different people. One of my friends is a game designer. He's a professional game designer. He worked for Wizards of the Coast, who makes Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, things like that. He was responsible for a game called Magic the Gathering Arena. This was his brainchild. So, this game. So I don't know if you guys have ever played Magic the Gathering, but it's a card game. One of the most long-lived, successful card games of all time. And there was a program called Magic the Gathering Online, which was an online version of it. But it was very difficult not very difficult, but it was not user-friendly, let's put it that way. And so my buddy Nick kept going to his boss at Wizards and being like, yo, we need to make Magic the Gathering Online for people. That was his pitch. He's like, we need to make Magic the Gathering Online for people. We need to make a user-friendly version where people can play Magic online for normal people, not, big galaxy brain people that is required to play Magic Online. And so he bugged them and bugged them and bugged them about it for years, and then they finally agreed, and it's been this huge success. Then he left Wizards. He went to work for a company called Nintendo, working on Pokemon. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. Have you guys heard of Pokemon before? Pablo loves the game. Yeah. Any guests from semester in the gaming industry? I've there's a guy who works for AMD that's actually a player. Like he contacted me. Um, I'm gonna try and get him to come in and talk about working at AMD for you guys. I talked to Tess, who worked on Fallout New Vegas, and I talked to her a couple weeks ago. Maybe I can get her to come back and give a lecture or something. We'll see. We'll see. It's always fun. So Nick worked for Pokemon, and then uh, small indie company called Nintendo. Yeah, so he worked on the card game there, doing game design for them. But then one of his friends was like, "Hey, we're starting a new game indie startup. We need a game developer. You want to work for us?" And he's like, "I do." And so he quit Nintendo and like this big career to actually have, because when you work for the Pokemon card game, you can't really change anything. You know what I mean? Like you can't, you know, like the rules for the Pokemon card game, they've been set for 20 something years, right? And so he wanted to work on a project where he could do design from the ground floor up, and so he took the job, big pay cut, but he gets to design new game mechanics, and they play test them. I don't even know what project he's working on; it's all secret, right? But he's like, yeah, you know, when you come up with an idea for some new cool game mechanic and it works, like it's just the best feeling in the world. And so yeah, he took a pay cut to be able to work on an indie game, which is kind of respect. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would. Like if I had it made as a game designer and I was working for Wizards and Pokemon, I don't know if I could. I don't know. He's got a kid, you know. So I got to meet the Obsidian devs. Cool, cool. Fallout New Vegas, yeah. Fallout New Vegas, and I'm not just saying that because I'm kind of an acquaintance with one of the developers of it. My favorite Fallout game ever, Fallout New Vegas, and I really wish they would do like a remake of it with like, you know, it not crashing. I tried playing it again a couple months ago, and I finally got all the mods installed and everything, and it crashed, and I kept working on it. I got it to work, and then it ran for 15 minutes, then it crashed, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna put up with this. Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, like a 64-bit version of Fallout New Vegas would be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing. Um, Full control over what you want to do is nice. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about both game design and making games this semester. Okay? You want to make a game that's fun. You want to make a game that's balanced. You want to make a game that's playable for a long time. And what's interesting is that each of these things like are actually like you need to like dig into them. Like, what does it mean for something to be fun? What does it mean for something to be balanced? How do you make a game replayable? Like these are actually things like you can actually write essays on them, you know, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But and it's hard. Like actually, game design is actually a hard discipline to do. Most people, like I said, can't do it right. Like they'll come up with like a game idea, and yeah, there's problems with it. You know, design is hard, and making a game is hard, and scheduling is hard. This is the hardest thing, especially online, right? Like, you know, like if like I don't even know if I'm going to do group projects this semester, because the single biggest problem I've had teaching this class online is not the technical side. It's just actually getting groups to be able to work together online. That's the hardest part of this class. So I might not even do group projects, or I'll make them optional or something. I don't know. I severely underestimate how hard it is developing a game by yourself. You need to be a jack of all trades. Yeah, and yeah, very true. I'm personally a programmer, right? I'm not an artist, and so what I do is I go onto the marketplace and I buy assets. You know, like when I wanted to make a nice landscape, I bought a landscape builder pack that allowed me to make nice looking landscapes. Because I'm not an artist. You know? I didn't like pre-buy like a made landscape. It was tools to make landscapes. But the landscape I showed you guys a little bit earlier, it looks decent. I think it's not the worst thing. Yeah, but you have to be a jack of all trades, absolutely. Yeah, audio. Right. Yeah, I have a list somewhere in here. Maybe it's in another slide. But like all the things you have to do. So yeah, so you're gonna learn the basics of game development. I worked in the industry for a couple of years, and people do call it the industry. I don't know why. It's the industry. Um, and I've been to multiple E3s and SIGGRAPH and things like that. And I'm not I'm not like some big shot AAA developer, but I did do virtual reality video game arcade game development professionally, and then um, I've released various mods over the years, like I said, that have had some modest success. I have friends in the industry. I brought in a guy from BioWare. What was it, 2 semesters ago? Um, yep. The video game industry makes $20 billion a year. It's comparable to Hollywood, especially right now in the pandemic. It's probably bigger than Hollywood right now, honestly, because with the pandemic, people are playing video games; they're not seeing movies. Right? And there's a lot of jobs in the industry. The hardest thing, though, is getting started in it. Right. So there's a lot of people that want to work in video games. There's a lot of people that want to work in video games. You might be one of them, right? Like a lot of people take this class because they want to work in the video game industry. And the hardest thing is getting your foot in the door. It's like when EA has an opening for like an entry level, no experience needed, spot in the game industry. 1,000 people apply for it, right? For one spot. Good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck. So, so this class will help you get ahead of the pack, right? Because one of the biggest things in game industry is just showing what you've done in the past. You have a portfolio of stuff you've done. And so somebody like Walker, who's made like a 3D Mario World clone kind of thing, and he's done a bunch of other projects, he could, when he applies for a game development job, he can show his portfolio. These are all the different things I've done. Here are links, here's screenshots, here's videos of all the different projects I've worked on. This is the things I can do, and it looks really good. But once you're in the industry, this is the way that this works. Once you're in the industry, then you're in the industry. And you can basically work in the industry for as long as you want. And a lot of people don't actually work in the industry all that long. There's actually a lot of turnover because people get burned out and things like that. Is the pay good? No. Kind of. Can be. Let's put it that way. An equivalent job working for like Citibank will pay you more. Right? So if you are a programmer working for EA in an entry-level job in Austin, I think the pay is around 60 or 70,000 a year, which is it's something like that. Don't quote me on it. So it's somewhere in that ballpark. If you were working for Citibank with the same amount of experience, you'd probably be making 100,000, something like that. But people accept that 25% dip in salary because they want to work in games. And working in games is fun. It can be hard work, but it's fun. So, and there are a lot of jobs. You got to get your foot in the door. And once you work, and once you've released AAA titles, especially, that unlocks a lot of opportunities. So if you've worked for EA for 4 or 5 years, and you've released such blockbuster hits as Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Crying, sorry. Because my friend was on this. Fallout 76, yeah, great. You have a great series of games under your belt. Great success. Joking aside, like when you've worked on big AAA titles, then you can apply for, like, you're sort of part of the in group, and people jump around between companies all the time. My friend Tess, she was at Obsidian, worked on Fallout New Vegas, went to Zynga, I think the people that made Mafia Wars and Farmville and things like that. Right now she's at Respawn Entertainment, the people that make Titanfall or something like that. And what else do they do? Uh, Respawn also does. Do they do Battlefield or something like that? Apex. Yeah, that's part of the Titanfall universe. Um, they have another big franchise, right? They're made by the COD people. Oh, yeah. Fallen Order did that. Medal of Honor above and beyond. Okay. Yeah. That's probably what she's working on right now. I don't know. Yeah. And so the point is though, people bounce around. When I worked for a company doing virtual reality arcade game development, and my boss worked his thing, and he actually met Tess there, like completely unconnected things, and we were on Facebook. He's like, "Wait, how do you know Tess?" I'm like, "She was married to a friend of mine," and yeah. Um, and then he moves over here, and she moves over here, and she was hired to fire people, and so people just kind of shift around inside of the industry. And once you're in, and you build networking, and you get to know people, and people will work at a company for 3 years, then shift over to another company, and it's normal. That's just normal in the industry. And the pay is pretty good once you get to that point. Like if you're an experienced programmer, game developer, and you make game engines, and you have a proven track record of being able to make doors. You know what I mean? Like if you have a good track record of success, then the pay's pretty good. Like my first boss was making probably I don't know, $300,000 a year back in the '90s. You know, something. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. It's somewhere probably in that ballpark. You know, and worked for Facebook and things like that. And he just bounced around, and he's a really cool dude. Really like him a lot. Was he a genius? Yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, I don't want to say he's not a genius because that's kind of rude, but like, I mean, he was a smart guy, you know, and he knew how to um, he knew how to improve himself. Let's put it that way. That was something he was really good at. Like this new Python programming language came out. He's like, all right, I'm going to learn Python, you know, and so he'd find a project for himself that would require him to know Python, and then he would tell his boss like, hey, you need to pay me for a week to learn Python, and then I can do this project we're working on. Okay, and so they would pay him a week, and he would just sit there with a book and learn Python. And so every year he was always looking at like, all right, what do I need to learn? I need to learn this. I need to learn this, and he would get his employer to pay for him to learn it. You know, and so he never stagnated. He never got out of date. You know, he's always learning and staying up to date. And he's a smart guy. When you call somebody a genius, it sounds like, well, I can't do it because I'm not a genius. Now, things like that anyone could do. You just have to always be working on yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. I mean, all right, fine. He was a genius, but like that habit of mind of just like always like working on yourself and improving yourself. That's something anyone could do. Okay, so this class, I should mention, this class is not just for gamers. If I've been mentioning games like Titanfall and I don't know, Fallout, is anyone? I don't want to single out anybody, but like, if you're like, oh, I've never heard of these Pokemon things before, it's fine. You don't have to be a gamer in this class. I will name drop games, and I apologize for that if you haven't heard of it. I've never actually played Titanfall myself. I know about it. It's got like robots or something, and they shoot each other. I don't know. Kind of feel bad about it because Tess is working for the company now. I've never played Titanfall. I own it. Never played it. Story of my life. But this class is not for just gamers. Okay. If you're not a gamer, it's a-okay. It's a-okay. You're gonna learn about games. Promise you that. But you don't have to know about. You know, like I said, I'll just name drop things here and there. And if you don't know about it, just ask about it. It's fine. One semester when I taught this, the entire front row of the class was all non-gamers. And so I'd be like, all right, you guys know chess, right? They're like, yeah, all right, cool. No, don't call out people, Walker. It's fine. It's fine. But like I said, if you've not heard of the game, just ask about it in chat. It's fine. Shammy's not a gamer. Yeah. Shammy, you know chess? Let's play some chess, dude. Actually, we can play We can play Viking chess. Has anyone here played Viking chess before? Viking chess is fun. It's a fun game. Play Among Us. We could, and we do play games in this class. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, like I think it was Bedencourt that was talking about. To make a video game, you have to have a lot of hats. And one of the nice things about working for a AAA company is that you only have to know one thing, right? If you're a music person, right, you can just do music, and that works fine in a big AAA studio. I just compose video game music. That's all I do. I'm a specialist in it, and that's cool. If you're working for an indie studio, no, you can't just you can't just do music. Maybe you'll be called upon to do sound effects and Foley, which is like the sounds of grass crunching under your feet, things like that. And then you're probably going to be called upon to play test. You know what I mean? Like when you're in a small indie studio, and I've worked with a lot of small indie studios over the years. Like people will split off. Like I was friends with a group of guys that split off from Sony. Sony Online Entertainment. They also did a football game, Madden maybe, something like that, or maybe it was the NCAA. No, it was not Madden. It was a competitor to Madden. And what happened was the Madden people bought the exclusive rights to using the names of the people in the NFL, and so their game, which also used the names of the people in the NFL, lost the right to make that. And so they did a couple. It's been a while. I can't remember the exact history of it, but I think they did a couple like games like The Yard or something like that, where it's like non NFL players playing football. And then eventually, I think they just started their own game studio, and it was literally six dudes in a person's house. They just had some folding tables set up. They had their gaming machines there, and they had the artist, they had the game programmer, they had all the different pieces of the puzzle put together, and they worked as an indie game studio out of the guy's house. And this guy Jeff, he was just a really cool dude, and they all had money because they'd been working for Sony, so they were able to live off their savings for a while. And then my boss, my former boss that I was telling you about, he went to work for an indie game studio, and they were in a warehouse, like an industrial warehouse. Like they have those long rows, and they have the roll up, metal screens, and they just set up a game development studio in there, and they made one of the release titles for the Wii called Cars. So they made this game. They made ATX versus something. ATV versus what? Like these games, I think yeah. And so, and their thing was they would just find licenses, like the Cars thing, like whoever is in charge of making the Cars video game was looking for a studio to implement it. And they were like, yeah, we're available. And so they handed them the license, and they had a year or whatever it was to make the Cars video game. And they had a very tight deadline because it was a launch title for the Wii. And so I visited him, and I got to play on the Wii before the Wii came out because they had a development Wii. It's this big black box, like this big giant black box, and it's all top secret kind of stuff, They were about ready to launch, but they couldn't launch it because Nintendo had changed the rules on what you needed to launch, and that's something that I don't know if you guys know about, but like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, they have to approve your game to be released officially, right? And so they have all of these requirements that you have to do, and Nintendo changed the requirements like right before launch. And the requirement they changed was you have to make a splash screen saying you have to wear a strap when playing Wii. Because apparently what had happened was some of the people, when they were playtesting the Wii, had flung the remote, the Wiimote, into the screen and broke it. And so Nintendo published this thing, like, everybody working on games, you got to put the splash screen on, or we won't approve your game. And the developers were like, how do we put a this is a brand new system. Like, I don't know how to make a splash screen, and there's no documentation. And so they're like, like, how do we just put an image up on the screen before it loads, Because it loads and then it plays. But like, how do how do we play something before it loads? Nintendo, help us. And Nintendo's like, we don't know either. Um, and so that was like what was going on when I visited them, and they figured it out, you know. Um, but I'm like, that's stupid, you know. Who would throw a Wiimote into the screen? And then I played their game, and I proceeded to throw the Wiimote into the screen. Didn't break it, fortunately, but I'm glad I didn't break the Wiimote because they didn't have any, right? Like, they were development things, and if I had smashed that, it would have probably been pretty bad. Um, uh, yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting field to work in, and these guys are just working out of a warehouse, and they picked up contract work after contract work. Like, they didn't make all of the ATX versus MX or whatever it was games, but like the company's like, we want to make a version of this for Xbox or whatever, and so they would do contract work like that. And then after a while, they didn't get any contracts, so like, okay, we're going to go out of business, and then they all left, and all the people worked for different companies then. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what the game industry's like. Like, people will form a studio, and they make 5 titles, then it disbands, and the people go to work elsewhere, and that's kind of what life is like. Okay? So for this class, you're gonna get a touch of like all the different areas of game development, landscape making. I had friends who worked for Midway, who made maps for Midway. Maybe I can bring one of those guys in. It'd be fun. I brought him in, I think, last semester. They made maps. They made a game called Hydro Thunder, which you guys have probably seen in like movie theaters or something like that. It's a boat racing game. So I gotta play Hydro Thunder before it came out. You know, visited their studio there. And so there's a lot of different skills, and you're gonna kind of learn all of them. Okay. Will you learn any networking? Probably not. Networking, maybe actually, maybe. Walker can tell you what. Walker, do you think I should teach networking for IS50A? He was working on it. He was working on networking a lot in 50B last semester. Yeah. Looks simple. Not simple. Not at all. Probably not. Maybe. Probably. That's more of a 50B topic. Okay, and so you're going to get experience working on a large project. Something for your portfolio, something that'll make you look good if you guys want to work in the industry. And even if you're not going to work in the industry, guess what? Working on a project, doing time management is really good for you. And a lot of things in life are becoming gamified. So, gamification is like a thing. It's like a real thing. And what that means is that people in different industries like banking and like insurance are like adding elements of video games to their industry, because what you find out is that people actually get a lot more engaged with your product when it's gamified. When I buy Starbucks coffee, I get entries in a bingo thing, and so like I get a bingo card from Starbucks, and one of the things is like visit twice on the same day, buy a coffee and a pastry at the same time, visit every day 3 days in a row, and if you complete a bingo row or column or diagonal or whatever, you get like a 50 Starbucks stars or whatever, which is like the equivalent of like a free brownie or something like that. So it's like $3 to finish a row. And so like there have been times where like I've got all my things in the row except for visit twice in one day, and I'm like, I need coffee for tomorrow. And then I'd actually make a trip to Starbucks and buy a second coffee that day and throw it in the fridge and then drink it the next day, so that I could complete that row and earn a $3 worth of Starbucks credit. And that's coffee, so the coffee people are using gamification, right? My cousin's life insurance company has this whole gamified program for exercising. And so if you go to the gym, it like logs your attendance, and if you go like 5 days in a row, they literally give you money back. Like they literally pay you, and they have like this whole gamification thing on it. But the idea is the life insurance people don't want you to die, right? Because they'd have to pay out. So they have all these like gamified things to get you to like exercise and get active and things like that. and they literally reward you for doing so. So 70% of Fortune 2000 companies plan to use gamification. And so this class, where you're going to be thinking about game design, like what makes things fun, even if you're never going to be like in gaming in your life, like maybe um, call it New Vegas perk tree. Yeah. Um, yeah, like let's say Shami has no interest in working in the game industry. It's cool. Like the principles of design that you learn here, the principles of like what makes things fun and engaging, that's useful everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you want to have a game interface. You want to have an interface to your program that looks good. You know, that attracts people, that makes people want to use your software. You know, or whatever it is you do. So, like I said, even if you're not a gamer, like this class is good for you. You learn about how humans work, and that's huge, right? Like human psychology is very important. You know, if you want to do well in life, you have to understand people. You know, people are everywhere, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective. And so, understanding how people tick is actually a really useful skill to have. Human vision, you're gonna learn in this class, of all things. Um, what fun is complicated. We're gonna talk about that. Reaction time, like responsiveness of user interfaces, all these things all tie in with games, and they're all very useful things to learn. You learn it in this class. Okay. So, any questions? We'll play a game or something. Learn how important it is for instant feedback. Yeah. Fun is suggested. Yeah. Okay. Any questions about all that? Like I said, we're not doing anything technical today. We're just this is just the intro to the class kind of thing. Give you guys time to get your Unreal Engine set up and whatnot. If you order a laptop from CCC, you got to go in. And so there's a form that I posted on the announcements page, and if you click there, it should have it for you like by today or tomorrow or something like that. Like, yeah. Well, we learned about the good and the bad of charging money for skins and DLCs. We'll talk about it. Yeah, sure. If you want to. You have to schedule it to pick up from the library. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. My own personal take on it is, I really hate the model of surprise mechanics, as the EA people put it. Like in Overwatch, you know, you open a box and it gives you 3 random items, and that's well and good, except they sell tickets for buying more boxes, and it's gambling, right? And I have to say, I never once bought a box on Overwatch. I only got my free boxes, and you know, I got my ultra rare whatever thing for Symmetra, which is the only character I played about, so that was like really all I needed anyway. You can put ads in Smite and Paladins. Oh lord, gosh. Roblox is a course and says it's cool with charging children for animation. Yeah, funny story. When I was working doing virtual reality game development, my dad had an idea for that. He's like, you ought to charge people for bullets. So there can be normal bullets, but like if you charge people like $5 for a bullet that kills a person in one shot, people will buy it, and then the people who die to it are going to want to buy the special bullets also, and you could charge for bullets. And I'm like, no, Dad, that would be unethical. Now it's the basis of the games industry, right? So, yeah, I personally, when I worked in the industry, I refused to do it adamantly. It probably would have, made me a multi-billionaire or something if I was the first person to do the garbage microtransaction, thing. But sorry, I got ethics and principles. So, ethics, you say? I mean, at least in that regard. Yeah, pay to play, pay to win. No, I'm adamantly against it. And games like Valheim, where you just buy the game once and that's it, I have mad respect for those developers, and and people did too. Like the Valheim sold like 6 million copies, or I don't know. They've made their money on it without having to go with microtransactions and all that garbage. Yeah, yeah. The cosmetic DLCs, like I don't mind particularly if as long as it's not like a lottery system, like Overwatch did. Um, there's a game called Path of Exile. Let's see if I can pull that up for you guys. Has anyone here played Path of Exile before? Here goes my copyright strike. It's like Diablo. It's a Diablo style game, and it's free to play. Uh, it's all completely supported by cosmetic DLCs, and I kind of support that model too, because it's not like a lottery system. Like if there's a cosmetic model you want to have, you just buy it. And some of them are expensive. Like there's $80 cosmetic DLCs for Path of Exile. But it's not a lottery. It's like if there's a skin you like, you just spend $5 or whatever, and you get it. So that's fine. That's fine. Totem build, yeah. I had a friend that was a totem person. Destiny 2, not a fan. Sorry. Yeah, Borderlands is a fun game too. Yeah, cosmetic DLCs I guess I'm okay with. Things like XP boosters and things like that. Like the whole mobile gaming space to me is so... It's just all microtransactions and DLCs and pay to win and stuff like that. When smartphones became a thing, I got really excited for the mobile gaming space because I'm like, this is incredible. You can have like a video game on your phone and play it when you're at the line of the bank or whatever. And I have been massively disappointed in the mobile gaming industry over the past 15 years or whatever it is. The iPhone came out 14 years ago? Yeah. Massively disappointed. I have yet to find a game that I like for mobile. I do play Pokemon Go, but that's an exercise app for me. It's my step counter. Diablo Immortal. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I would be fine paying $5, $10, whatever, for a mobile game that was like no XP boosters, no mega crystals, no whatever nonsense microtransaction stuff they have. Like, just make a good game, and I'll buy it. And yeah, I've yet to find one, which is really disappointing to me because there was so much promise. And the mobile games industry is huge too. Like that's the worst thing about it is that it's actually a really large chunk of the games industry. Burn the Rope. Yeah, I mean I've played like the little puzzle games and things like that. With my daughter, like we'll do little puzzle games and things like that. But yeah, it just like where's the Skyrim for mobile? You know what I mean? Like, where's that big blockbuster? Like, you gotta play this game. Infinity Blade, maybe? I don't know. Okay. Angry Birds, yeah. Hey, Mason, good to see you. Yeah, little Google ads on the bottom of it. When you guys are gonna incite rage in your professor. I'm just trying to find a checkers game to play with my daughter, and like everyone has like Google ads over the bottom, and it's like, just let me buy it, dude. Like, I'll give you $1. Just go away with the ads. Okay. So, yeah. So your first assignment is going to be to play a game. Okay. And okay. So you have to play it by tomorrow. All right. So you don't have to have a laptop. It doesn't have to be a video game. Could be if you like. Um, could be, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a board game. It could be a card game. You can play it with your family. If anybody wants to play with each other in class, I encourage that. Like if anybody wants to play Among Us or something like that, go for it. Pi-hole filter your Wi-Fi and play your game with it. Yeah. Yeah, I need to set up a Pi-hole. I've actually got a Raspberry Pi like literally right here. The Pi that I have set up has a fan on it, and so it bugs me. Because like I just hear this little whirring all the time, and so I actually have it unplugged. But I've got an older Pi there that I'm going to set up for a Pi-hole at some point. So play some Minecraft, yeah. And so so just on the chat channel, just toss out some games you guys want to play, message each other, and you just got to play it tonight, like an hour, like okay. And then it's a fun game. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fill out a Google Forms, and I will post that. In fact, I already have the thing prepped here. And what you're going to do is you are going to assignments, game analysis. What you're going to do is you are going to fill out this form. It's not week one; it's day one technically. Doesn't have to be a board game. Doesn't have to be a group. Like I said, I'm getting rid of all the group requirements just because trying to coordinate group stuff online has just been the single biggest hassle of this whole pandemic thing, honestly. I mean, I guess the death is pretty bad too. Pick an interesting game. Maybe a card game, board game, video game, or whatever. And play by yourself, or with family, or with friends, or in a group with other people in the class. And then when you're done, there. When you're done, you're going to click on this form. And the form, I'll bring it up in a second. Let me save this. It's going to be due tomorrow. Tomorrow, it'll be due at the start of class tomorrow. So you got tonight to do it. There. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link, and let me click on it, make sure the link is active. I sometimes turn these off. Nope, it's still good. All right, so you turn on streaming mode so it stops beeping at me. Streaming mode. Never, whatever. Shortcut's not working. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill out your name, student ID, your partner's names. If you don't have one, just put down, I don't have one. The name of the game you played, how many minutes you played for. It's a minimum of an hour. Like, I hope you guys are okay with this very difficult homework assignment I'm giving you. But yeah, it will take an hour to do. I mean, honestly, like, how many other college classes have you taken that are like, you must play games for an hour? Not half an hour plus. Could be 2 hours. At least an hour. Is this assignment for both A and B? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And like I said, for the B people, we're going to wrap this up in about, I don't know, half an hour or so for the A people. Because it's not really a lab today. Because people don't have Unreal Engine and stuff installed yet. Yeah, for the IS50B people, hang out after we're done with 50A, and we'll talk about, we're going to actually agree on what we're going to do this semester. But yeah, but you'll have to do this also. So find a person to play with. It's fine. You can play with the A people, or you can play by yourself, whatever. But yeah, minimum of 60 minutes, and it's on the honor system. Obviously, I don't have a stopwatch. I'm not, I don't know. You can lie to me, I guess, but yeah, if you have to lie, if you have to cheat when the assignment is to play a game, like. Copy your answer. Hey man, how was Destiny? Come on. Okay, so it's on the honor system. So genre. So this is when it's going to start getting into it. Okay. So one of my big things in this class is I teach game design and how to think analytically and critically about games. And so, is it a first-person shooter? Is it a strategy game? Is it a card game? You know, um, and we'll talk about these things in a little bit. How many players is it? How fun was it? And this is just purely a subjective thing, right? Like how fun. Like let's say we're playing Among Us or something, right? How fun do you get? For those of you that have played Among Us, again, how fun would you guys think Among Us is? Yeah, Avina, if you haven't taken A, just take A. Just take A. A lot of people take A with programming experience. Like Shami here has 2 years of computer science experience. But um, um, yeah, take A, take A. And then if you have a good time this semester, you can take B next semester. Among Us 4 out of 5, 2 depends on the people you play with. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. This class doesn't even really require programming, like per se. There's like yeah. There's no, you're not going to be coding per se in this class. If you're playing with Shami, it's 0 out of 5. People can run the game really easily. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Like, how fun is? I don't know. Like, how fun of? Hmm, uh, for me, it'd be somewhere in here. Maybe 4. Maybe 4 for me. A little bit high. I think I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Maybe on fun. Is Among Us cooperative or competitive? Are the players playing against each other, or are they playing with each other? So, for those of you that don't know what Among Us is, it's a game in which you're on a spaceship, you're trying to repair a spaceship. 7 of the people or whatever are humans, 3 of them are aliens. And if an alien kind of ever gets a human alone, they can kill them, and then they run away. And when people discover the body, then they hit a button, everybody gets summoned together, and everybody votes somebody off the island, or they don't have to. And that person gets spaced. And if it's an alien, yay, good job, humans. If it's a human, you just kill the human. And if the aliens ever outnumber the humans, the aliens win. So if 4 humans are killed or whatever, then the aliens win. Sometimes there's 2 aliens, and you have to get down to uh, 2 aliens. Um, and so, is it cooperative or competitive? It's both, right? So for that one, I would say it's in the middle because the humans are all working together, and the aliens all working together, but they're working against each other. You know, so it's an interesting mix of um, it's an interesting mix of cooperative and competitive. And when you're in the voice chat together, like talking about who's an alien, who's not, everyone's in the same voice chat. The humans and the aliens both, and the aliens are going to be lying. Like, oh no, I was doing this over here, and somebody's like, you're lying. I saw you over here flushing leaves out of the thing. And who's lying? I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting mechanic. Is Among Us luck or strategy based? So there's a little bit of luck in that it's random whether you're a human or a alien. But beyond that, there's not really very much luck in the game. I would say. Like what do you like? If you guys haven't played Among Us, maybe I should pick a different example. How many people here have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Among Us? I could come up with a different game maybe. Duncan with the Demon Hunter icon. I like it. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess the places where you go to do tasks are random. That's true. But I feel like maybe somewhere in this range. Uh, uh, hmm, uh, no, actually, I think I'd go with 4. I think the game is almost all in the talking it out part, you know, like people lying and people trying to figure out who's lying and things like that. Um, I'd say there is some luck in it, but um, it's an interesting question. I don't know. Okay, how much player interaction is there? Um, so player interaction is there's this. By the way, there's this great website called the League of Game Makers, and they talk about all these different elements of gameplay. It's a really neat site. And so interaction is the ability for one player to affect the game experience of another player. Right? There's some games that you play where there's like no interaction at all. Like I was playing with Walker and Harlan yesterday a game called Welcome To, and basically each person is building their own little suburb division, and you don't basically interact with each other at all. Each person's just sitting there making their own city. At the end of the game, whoever scored the most points wins. Um, and to me, low interaction games like that don't appeal to me usually. Um, there's a little bit like there's these achievements you can achieve, and the first person to get the achievement flips the card over and scores more points than everybody else who does it later. That's it. So there's a small amount of interaction, and that you're kind of racing to get these achievements first, but that's it. It's a very low interaction game, and you're basically just playing SimCity by yourself. Like you're just building your little city, and at the end of the game, I got 91 points. How many did you get? 89. All right, cool. You know, I got some. That's a low interaction game. Games where you directly are impacting the game experience of other people, that's a high interaction game. Chess, for example, everything you do in chess is impacting the other person. You know what I mean? Like, you're, you know, very intricately involved with the other person. A medium interaction game would be something like maybe World of Warcraft, where like you can play the game on your own. You can play World of Warcraft solo, just running around killing monsters and skinning pigs or whatever. But if you want, you can join a team with people and do a raid. And if you want, you can like fight other people, but you don't have to. So, you know, World of Warcraft, I'd say, is somewhere in the medium interactivity thing. So it's a spectrum, and so, you know, board games especially have a pretty wide range in like how much the players actually get to impact each other. And for me, high interaction games are more fun than low interaction games. But you know, it's not a hard and fast rule. You know, in general, interaction is a good thing. Yeah. Right. Ticket to Ride. Has anyone here played Ticket to Ride before? It's a train building game. Yeah, Among Us is high player interaction for sure, for sure. Like you're very involved in like what other people are doing. Like you walk past the security room and you see a guy just standing there. Paying like, what's that guy up to? You walk past the engine room. What's that guy up to? You know, Among Us is a lot of player interaction. You're always paying attention to other people, seeing what they're doing, things like that. Is there anything else we need to know, or is that it for class today? We're going to run through the form, and I'm going to explain what all the terms mean, and then class will be over. Mr. Vina. So Ticket to Ride is a train building game, and there's a little bit of interaction in that if you take a route, other people can't take the route. And so you can see like maybe the yellow person was coming this way, and then the blue person's like, bloop, I block you, and then they kind of have to route around it or something like that. So Ticket to Ride, there is a certain amount of player interaction. It's kind of medium though. Downtime. Okay. So again, what I'm going over right now is sort of the basic elements of a game. Okay. So downtime is how long are you sitting there not doing anything? Right? How much downtime does Among Us have? How much downtime does chess have? How much downtime does I don't know, your favorite board game have? Just post something on Discord. Remember, these things aren't exactly lectures. Like, I want you guys to be talking actively during it. A lot of board games have too much downtime, where you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to make a move, and it's boring. A game with a lot of downtime is boring. Yeah, so Among Us does something really clever. If you die, normally in a game, you're like, all right, I guess I'm going to sit here for 15 minutes and wait for the round to finish, and then, you know, come back to life, and hopefully I don't die again. But in Among Us, you can actually complete your tasks while you're a ghost. And ghosts can walk around and do their things, and they can't interact on voice, or they're not supposed to. But they're still like kind of interested to see if people are, able to figure out who the assassins are and stuff like that. So Among Us has a little bit of downtime because, like if you finish all your tasks as a ghost, like you're kind of done. WoW has all the downtime, yeah. And WoW wasn't even that bad. Like some games like EverQuest or Final Fantasy 11, you do a fight and then you'd have to sit down and rest for a minute. So every time you fought a monster, you'd sit down, drink some milk. All right, kill one monster, sit down, drink some milk. Horrible game design. Like people want to be killing monsters; they don't want to be sitting there drinking milk. Like I understand there's a system for like food and drink and stuff like that, but like I was reading novels while playing Final Fantasy 11. That's a sign your game has too much downtime. When people literally have a book on their table and they kill one monster, they like get a couple pages read. Oh, I'm back up. Okay, you kill one monster, read a couple more pages. That's a sign your game's boring. You know what I mean? So, not FF14, FF11, the first Final Fantasy. What would you call waiting for your mana to regen if you're a mage-based class? Yeah. World of Warcraft does have that. Like you have to drink water. It's faster though than in Final Fantasy 11. Breath of the Wild doesn't have downtime because of how it's made. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Breath of the Wild, you're always kind of doing something. Downtime in Valorant when you suck, yeah, because you're dead, right? And then you just get to sit there and not do anything. If the downtime is based on the player, would you put that for this one? It's just in general a question of how long, what percentage of the game would you say you're not doing anything? Okay. In chess, when it's the other person's turn, is that downtime? You guys all know chess, I hope, right? When it's the other person's turn in chess, is that downtime? What do you think? Kind of, but really you're spending all of that time when they're moving, still looking at the board state, still thinking and things like that. Yeah, for chess I would say there's little downtime in chess. You're still thinking moves. Maybe if you know you're going to checkmate somebody, then like you don't have to think about it too much. But in chess there's very little downtime because even when it's the other person's turn, you're still actively engaged in the game. There are games though, like I was playing a card game last night. We had 8 people at the table, and when it was somebody else's turn, you're just sitting there like, Go on, hurry it up. And people are like chatting, and that's fine. But not when it's your turn, please, because nobody else can play when it's your turn. So how's so and so doing? Come on, the game took 2 hours to play. It's not supposed to be a 2-hour game. Monopoly has a lot of downtime. Yeah. What is OSU, Duncan? GTA 5 loading screens, yeah, that definitely count. Like some games, man, their loading screens are like, like some games they take so long to load, like I don't want to play them. Pillars of Eternity had a problem where it auto saved every time you walked into a new area, and sometimes like you walk through a door into a house, that's a new area. It auto saved. And the autosave system they had saved the entire state of the world every time it autosaved. So the beginning of the game, instantaneous. But by the end of the game, it was literally like 30 seconds. And so I stopped playing the game because I didn't want to walk through any doors anymore. It's like I could go into that shop and buy some healing potions, but I'm not going to because I'm going to be staring at a loading screen for half a minute. And then once I buy it, I have to walk out, and I'm going to be staring at a loading screen for half a minute. I just went, no, I'm done. I quit it. And I actually ended up playing it again like 4 years later and beat it. I was like on the last chapter of the game, and I just quit because it got slower and slower and slower the more you played the game. Oh, that one. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. Um, so yeah, there's downtime when you're waiting on playing music. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Skyrim had pretty bad loading times on the 360 for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely a PC gamer for that reason. I'm glad that consoles have SSDs now. Like the PS5 actually has pretty good loading times. Like Ghost of Tsushima is a lot more playable now than it used to be. Yeah, so downtime is almost always a negative, right? For interaction, there's not really a good or a bad necessarily. I tend to prefer high interaction games. I tend to prefer more strategy games. But like for competitive and cooperative, there's not like a right answer for it. But for downtime, basically downtime is bad, right? And in first-person shooters, if you're dead, I don't like being dead in a first-person shooter. Like where you're just sitting there like waiting for a match to finish. It's one of the things I didn't like about Counter-Strike. If you died, you're just like done. You know, you just sit there. And there are a lot of dumb ways to die in Counter-Strike. And so I never really got into it that much. I did talk to the developer of Counter-Strike back in the early betas because the design of Counter-Strike was actually similar to my mod, right? So my mod of custom Team Fortress, the mod was taking Team Fortress and adding in a menu system where you can buy armor and weapons and things like that to it. And Counter-Strike, I don't want to say they copied it, but it is this same design, right? And I know he played Team Fortress too. I'm pretty sure. It was a while ago, but I talked to him about it and offered to work with him on Counter-Strike, and he declined, which is unfortunate. That would have been a nice feather in my cap, right? Being in it was just a mod, right? It wasn't like some big global phenomenon back then. It was just a mod, and it was very similar to my mod. And same groups of people were playing both of them, you know. And I mean that would have been interesting, huh? You know, moved up to Seattle and worked for Valve or something, you know. One of my friends that played Custom TF with me was a Valve. He worked for the Team Fortress people. Getting shot and killed through a smoke, yeah. So Counter Strike has a lot of downtime, and maybe not a lot, but 3 or something like that, more than I like. So in my game, you just instantly come back to life when you die. You can change that, but that's the default. Okay, how easy is a game to learn? So this is another thing where, in general, easier is better. You know, because you want people to be able to get into your game, right? So, like, how easy is Destiny? I've seen people talking about Destiny or Borderlands. How easy would you say it is for somebody who's maybe they've played games before, but they've never played that game before? How easy do you think it is to figure out Destiny or Borderlands or one of those looter shooter type games? Anthem. Not easy at all. Grindy, very grindy. I mean, Destiny 2 has that whole, like, tutorial storyline kind of thing. 6 hours deep, still don't know what I'm doing. Pretty easy. I don't know. I would say it's kind of easy to learn, but I don't know. You can pick it up and play without deep understanding. Borderlands 2, no. Borderlands 3, yeah. Okay. Yeah. What about chess? How easy is chess to learn? Borderlands 2 is still easy. How easy would you guys say chess is to learn? Or checkers? What do you guys think? Checkers is 1, yeah. Pretty simple. Yeah, raiding is a whole different story. Like I used to do 40-man WoW raids, you know, and it was like trying to do a choreographed dance with 40 people in it. And all of them, you have to move here, you have to move here, and you have to scatter, and you have to come back together and circle and rotate and, you know, form a star pattern and get the tubas playing and stuff like that. When you say learn, do you mean learn mechanics? That's, you know, I'm leaving it vague. And so, like, how easy is checkers to learn? I would say it's pretty easy. I'd give that a 5, probably. Chess, it's a little bit harder because there's a lot of different pieces that have different rules. You know, so I'd say to get into it, like to be able to like just play the game, you know, and not break the rules. You know what I mean? Like, so Microsoft Flight Sim is tricky to understand. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator is around there somewhere. I still don't. I still don't know like how to like update my flight plan in flight and things like that. Like I've got waypoints set up and like I don't know how to like update it like while I'm flying. What do I fly on? Got one of these things. What is it? Thrustmaster something or other. MX or something. Yeah, I tried flying it with keyboard and mouse, and it does not work. The Microsoft Flight Simulator is absolutely garbage with keyboard and mouse. And so I got a flight stick, and I can fly all right now with keyboard and mouse. I was crashing to the ground constantly. But yeah, like there's so many things in Flight Simulator, and it's not easy to learn. Maybe 2. I don't know. Okay, game state. So in chess or checkers, you have full information, right? You know everything. Chess and checkers would be a 5. You know everything that's in the game, right? Whereas, like, think about poker, right? With poker, you know your cards, but you don't know other people's cards, right? There's hidden information. Okay, so you can infer some of the hidden information by how they're bidding in poker, but you don't know what cards they have, and they could be lying about it, right? And so you're trying to guess if your cards are the best at the table. That's what poker's about. It's a hidden information game. You don't know everything that's in the game. What about Among Us? Is Among Us full information or hidden information? Yeah. Yeah, Among Us, yeah, probably hidden information, right? Uh, maybe a 2, because when people complete a task, the task bar goes up, and so if you watch an imposter do a task, and then they walk away and the task bar doesn't go up, then you know they didn't actually do a task. So some people turn that off though, so it kind of depends on the rules you're playing with. But like, does Among Us have a tutorial? I don't think so. I think you just play it and kind of learn as you go. Yeah, Among Us for easy to learn. My gut take on that is like a 3, something like that, because it can be tricky. You know, like you gotta just try things and see if it works and stuff like that. Yeah. And the imposters have more information. Like they know who their fellow imposters are. Yeah, I'd probably go with the 2, because Among Us really is a hidden information game. Like it's about trying to deduce who the imposters are. Right. That's the whole point of the game. Is it abstract or simulationist? So an abstract game would be something like checkers, where you just have circles and you're moving circles around on the map. A simulationist game would be something like Call of Duty, where you've got guns and armor and you're headshotting people. A simulationist game is trying to accurately reproduce reality, right? And Europa Universalis, one of my favorite games, is trying to accurately reproduce the interactions between countries across a 400 span year of history. And so you're playing as France, and you can rival other countries and espionage them, and if you attack them, their relations with you go down, but the people that hate them goes up because you attacked their rivals, and it's really trying to simulate reality. Abstract games would be like Azul, maybe. Like I said, when I not name drop, no. Azul, Board Game Geek. When I name drop games, again, just ask me if you've never heard of them before. And I know probably most people don't know Azul. This is what it looks like to play Azul, right? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? You know, what's going on here? There's tiles and there's colors and things like that. I think the premise of it is that you're making a stained glass window or something like that. No, decorative tiles, right? Sagrada is the sequel to stained glass, I think. But it's abstract, right? Because it's not you're not really simulating. You're not really simulating making a stained glass window. You know what I mean? Like, you've just got colored dice, and you're kind of placing them to score points and things like that. So this is an abstract game, right? And it's not simulation; it's type abstract. Right? And so, what I'm doing here, by the way, is also just sort of teaching you guys the vocabulary of game design. Okay, so abstract games go, things like that. What are the top abstract games? Sort by rank. So Azul is the #1 abstract game. Patchwork, I bought that for my sister. You're making a quilt. Sagrada, Go, Santorini. Santorini, you're making. It's like based on the Greek island of Santorini, but you're really just placing things on a map and things like that. So there's different Greek gods you place on there, stuff like that. So an abstract game is really about capturing points and things like that. Go is abstract, and call it, yeah. I mean, Go, I guess, it's not trying to simulate reality, right? Go would be abstract. Call of Duty would be simulationist. Quake would be simulationist. Tic-tac-toe, abstract. You guys understand? That makes sense to you guys? What game does your family play, Shami? Azul, yeah. It's fun, though. It's fun. Like, this isn't one of those things where, like, simulationist is good and abstract is bad, right? Like, Azul's a fun game, right? Silence. Shami doesn't say anything. Maybe he doesn't like it. I don't know. Shami, do you like Azul? Do you leave? No, he's playing. Yeah, I enjoy it. Okay. Good. Yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah. Okay. So does the game have a low or a high skill cap? So a game with a high skill cap would be like chess, right? Like, the more you play it, the better you get. You keep getting better, you keep getting better, you keep getting better. And there's like this huge, like, you can play chess your whole life, and never reach a maximum, Age of Empires 2 is the same way. There's this massively high skill cap for Age of Empires 2. You can just keep playing it and keep getting better and absolutely destroy people when you get good at it. Yeah. Well, destroy newbies when you get good at it. Yeah, you can play Age of Empires 2 for a long time and still lose badly because it has a massively high skill cap. But Age of Empires 2 is also fairly easy to get into. Like, you can play it as a newbie and have fun, as long as you're playing with other newbies. So Age of Empires, chess. What do you guys think about games like Call of Duty? Like, do they have a high skill cap, or a game with a low skill cap would be like tic-tac-toe, right? Once you play tic-tac-toe about a dozen times, tic-tac-toe. There are no tic-tac-toe grandmasters. There's no tic-tac-toe world championships. There's a lot of games that are fairly like Sorry, or like all these kids games. Shoots and Ladders, one of the worst games ever made, has a low skill cap, right? Because you can be a master player at Shoots and Ladders because there's no choices you make. COD has a very, very high skill cap. Yeah, any game with esports probably has a high skill cap. You know what I mean? Fortnite probably. Yeah, I'd say Fortnite has a high skill cap. What would be a game? Halo 3. What game would you guys say has a low skill cap? That like you can play it for a little while and just be as good as you're going to get at it. That's what a low skill cap means. Like you can play it for an hour or two, and that's it. You're as good as you're ever going to get at the game. A lot of kids' games are that way, where like once you figure it out, you kind of figured it out. And that's about all there is to it. Rock paper scissors, yeah, maybe. Although some people like get into the psychology and I don't know. Pokemon Go, yeah, Pokemon Go has a low skill cap for sure. You just need to play the game, like that's it. Minecraft card games. Which card games? Some card games have a high skill cap. Hearts, Spades, amazing games, by the way. Amazing games. Very, like, you burn your brain cells, like, trying to keep up to date with those things. Poker, too, to a certain extent. But, like, Go Fish, maybe Old Maid, things like that. Yeah, those would be low skill cap games, yeah. Uno is pretty low skill cap, I think. Uno, I'd probably put it about a 2, because there is a little bit of strategery you can do in there, maybe. Smaller games of Uno, like you can actually like, maybe use some strategery to win a little more often. Truck Simulator. I don't know. What about like Mario style games? Like, have you guys ever played any of the Mario games, like the original Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers U, Mario Galaxy, 3D Mario, the one with the hats, whichever one that one is? Have you guys ever seen that? Mario 64 is a pretty high skill cap, yeah. Super Mario Speed Run. So they beat the whole game in 4 minutes 54, and they actually have it down to the sub-second, and so you can actually see, like, they actually count every frame on the speed run. Like, do you see how close that guy pulled that? Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? There's a glitch in the game where if you push forward and then press backwards at exactly the right second, there's one frame where you can actually jump vertically off a pipe. Play that one more time. That's a glitch. Yeah, and so there's insane amounts of skill to do speedruns for sure. And even in like just single player, I'd say like Mario Brothers at least, you can get better at it. The more you play like one of these Mario games, Mario Sunshine, yeah, that was a fun one. Mario Galaxy, yeah, all of them. Like the more you play it, the better you get. But at a certain point, like, at a certain point, it's like you get good, and the games are designed to be pretty accessible to kids. It's not that crazy. There's only 4 questions left, and then the A people, you're done for the day. The class technically ends at 2:25, so we should be right on time for that. No lab time today. Your lab time today is playing a game by yourself or with your friends. Okay. So again, if you want to play with people, just post on the chat channel and get a group together. Play it. Okay, how well does it handle people of different skill levels? Okay. Smash Brothers Ultimate. You're asking the wrong person about Smash. I am garbage at Smash Brothers, and it pains my soul a little bit at it, because when the original Smash Brothers came out, I was pretty good. Not like, elite pro sports game or whatever, but I was pretty good at it. Like, and then I didn't play it, and then I tried playing Smash Brothers again and just got smashed. Pains my soul a little bit. I'm not the right person to ask about Smash Brothers. Okay, here's a question. How well does Smash Brothers handle people of different skill levels? This is actually one of the great perennial questions when it comes to gaming, right? Like, how do you have an experienced player and a newbie, or maybe not a newbie, but just somebody who plays casually? How do you have them play together in a game and have it be fun? That's a tough question. Like, chess is not fun. If you're playing chess between an experienced person and a newbie, chess is the worst game ever. Like, the experienced person wins 100% of the time. Like, the newbie has no chance of winning. And it's not even fun to play because you're just getting smashed along the way. They're forking you and taking your pieces. You just get to sit there, watch your army dwindle and dwindle until there's no hope remaining. And you get checkmated. Right? Chess is an absolute garbage game at handling people at different skill levels. It's only fun if you're playing somebody who's evenly matched with you, or within your ELO range. Age of Empires 2 is the same way. Multiplayer helps a little bit with it. If you have an 8-player game and you have 2 experienced people on each side and 2 newbies, that's actually kind of a fun game because the newbies can actually kind of make a difference. Like they can, it's really a 2v2 with like 2 random people who are just doing whatever. But like multiplayer can kind of mix it up a little bit, so it's not quite as bad. But if you have an experienced person in Age of Empires 2 and a newbie, the experienced person wins every time, and it's not fun along the way. So how does Smash Brothers handle it? So you're talking about Smash. Turn on items. Yes, that's exactly the right answer. And so items are actually there to add a random element to the game, right? The items are there to have a chance for the newbies, right? And that's why experienced people turn off items in Smash Brothers, because it adds an element of chaos and randomness, which allows a lower skilled person to beat a higher skilled person. So higher skilled people don't like items, right? Every time I do like a Smash tournament, like everyone's like, turn items off, and I'm like, no, turn them on because I suck. So items, and you can see Richard Garfield, who's the guy who made Magic the Gathering. He talks about this. You can watch game design lectures on all these things, and he talks about luck and the amount of luck you should have in a game, and how experienced people hate luck because it allows lower skilled people to win occasionally. But lower skilled people like it because even though I have no chance of beating experienced people, if I get the right item and get a giant hammer or I get some mega shooty thing that kills everybody, not me, like I'm like, yay, I won, and I know I have a chance. So yeah, Smash. I'd say it's probably around a 3, at least with items on. The experienced people are still going to win. But if you've got at least decent skill and you maybe get lucky with an item or something, and also in multiplayer Smash, if you got 8 people on the screen, a lot of times whoever's the best person, everybody gangs up on them and gets rid of them first. So there's that too. Items zap away the fun for you. Yeah, if you're. Did I lose my thing? Items. Experienced players hate items for that reason, but I suck, so I like them. But like gang up mechanics were like, if it's a free for all, everybody's like, oh, that guy's won the last 5 games in a row. Everybody just sits there and beats on him. He's like, and kill him first, and then the rest of the people get out of fun, And so a lot of multiplayer board games have that mechanic as well, where you can like pick on the person who's better, and that tends to even out the playing field a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little bit out of control, where like the best player just gets gunned down every time, and it's not fun for them because everybody knows they're the good player and they just gun them down first. But in general, like those kinds of mechanics can make it more equitable between different skill levels. Okay, so dexterity and intelligence based. So dexterity based game is based on your reflexes and coordination and things like that. So like a first person shooter where you have to have good hand-eye coordination and be able to shoot people and put them on target, that'd be more of a dexterity based game. Intelligence based games are like strategy games. Chess obviously is an intelligence based game. Jacks, where you're like dropping things and scooping things, that's dexterity based. And some games are in the middle, like Team Fortress. You have to have good hand-eye coordination, but even if you suck at hand-eye coordination, you can oftentimes do pretty well if you're good at thinking things through. Like an engineer, you can build defenses and things like that, and even if you can't shoot yourself, like you can set up defenses so when the bad guys come in, shoots them and stuff like that. Balanced is how fair is it between different options in the game. Okay, so when was it Apex Legends came out, there was some weapon in the game that everybody was making fun of because it was so bad. I don't remember the name of it. Anyone know? Mozambique, that's it, yeah. And so everybody was making fun of the Mozambique because it was just such a bad weapon, right? And so that would be an example of bad balance. Like, the essence of balance is to have all the options be at least somewhat reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to have things that are better and things that are worse and stuff like that. But if some things are just so unholily awful that nobody would pick them, that's not balanced. And if some things are so good that you'd always take it, that's not balanced either, right? So if there was like an Overwatch, if there was some team composition that always won, then that's not a balanced game, right? In order for something to be balanced, you have to make it so that there's at least a reasonable person would pick, something. Right? Yeah, and so games like chess, I would say, are pretty obviously balanced. Tic-tac-toe is a very balanced game, right? First person does have, maybe there's a first person advantage in tic-tac-toe, but I'd say, in general, tic-tac-toe's a pretty balanced game, right? Even chances for both people. COD had a laser gun that based its damage off your frame rate. Yeah, that happens a lot, actually. We'll talk about that this semester. Yeah, but like if you ever read like a video game guide and it's like you must pick this, then it's not balanced. You know what I mean? If there's something you must pick, if there's something you can't pick, it's not balanced. And the replayability is like how many times can you play the game, right? For a game like Super Mario Brothers, where like you beat it and that's it, maybe it'd be fun to go back and replay it every once in a while. But for me, like a game like that, I'm done. I beat it. I finished Red Dead Redemption. I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. And then some games, like you just want to keep coming back and playing it over and over again. So that was a little lecture on the elements of game design. Your assignment, due tomorrow at noon, is to play a game with you and your friends. Fill out the form. The link's on Canvas. And that's it. And you get your point for today. Okay. So, any questions about it? And then for the 50B people, hang out and we'll talk about what we're going to do this semester. Do you have to have partners? No. I did in the past, and like I said, that was just the worst part of the pandemic, was just trying to get people to work together. So no, I'm not going to require partners at all this semester. If you don't have a partner, just put down none. Okay. Guys, cool? Give me a thumbs up if you guys understand. Give me a thumbs up and you can peace out, unless you're in 50B. Okay. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Should have had streamer mode turned on. Alright, so 50B people. Mason, you're in 50B? Yeah, you can hang out. It's all good. Yeah, so 50B is not published yet because I want to talk to you guys about what we are going to do this semester. People. Got 3 people in it, and 2 of them are here. The other guy was here earlier, I think. Let me add him. So, you guys finished IS50A, and so let's brainstorm ideas for this. You're gonna have to do this, by the way. So um, I'll put that up on Canvas. But I haven't published Canvas because I actually want to talk to you guys about what we are going to do. Um, so maybe we should make a new section. New section. Okay. All right. So what would you guys like to learn this semester? I've got some ideas myself, but I'd like to hear from you guys first as to what kinds of things in game development you'd like to learn yourself personally. I guess we can stop streaming now. But we're missing one person, and I'll contact him. I don't need to record this anymore.